Previously on Grasses and Classes. Smooth cordgrass, known scientifically as Spartina alterniflora, is an emergent plant. We plant Spartina alterniflora in living shorelines for three main reasons. It acts as a habitat for small animals, it prevents erosion, and it filters and absorbs pollution. We also learned about our local watershed. A watershed is an area in which all water, sediments, and dissolved materials drain from the land into a common body of water, in our case, the Choctawhatchee Bay. Finally, we learned about salinity. We used refractometers to measure the salinity of different waters in parts per thousand. Salinity is one thing that impacts our watershed. What else influences our watershed? What are the waterways in our watershed used for? Tune in to the second lesson of Grasses and Classes to find out. This is Lesson 2. What is a watershed? Brought to you by the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance and AmeriCorps Northwest Florida Environmental Stewards.
Welcome back, explorers, to your second lesson of Grasses and Classes. This month, we will be talking about our watershed. Part of our watershed is the Choctawhatchee Bay. Do you remember what type of water our bay has? Pause the video now to discuss. That's right, it's brackish water. Brackish water is a mixture of fresh water and salt water. Our fresh water comes from the land surrounding our bay, our rivers, and our creeks. Choctawhatchee Bay gets most of its fresh water from the Choctawhatchee River and lots of creeks, including Turkey Creek, Rocky Creek, and Aliqua Creek. Our salt water comes from the Gulf of Mexico, which enters the bay through the Destin Pass. So where would we have the lowest and highest salinity levels? Pause the video now to discuss. That's right. The lowest salinity levels are where the Choctawhatchee River enters the bay, since the river is fresh water. The highest is by the Destin Pass, since our salt water comes from the Gulf of Mexico. Right now I'm in the Choctawhatchee Bay, which is part of a watershed. But what is a watershed? A watershed encompasses not only the water, but also the surrounding land from which the water drains from. This means that all the pollutants, sediments, water, and materials will eventually end up in the Choctawhatchee Bay. In this picture, all of that yellow is part of the Choctawhatchee Bay watershed. It covers 5,350 square miles, and 42% of that is in Florida, with the rest remaining in Alabama. Let's look at a visual example to see just how big our watershed is. These three jars represent the fresh water that's in our watershed. This small one represents rain. This middle one represents springs and creeks. And this larger one represents the Choctawhatchee River. All of these water eventually end up in our Choctawhatchee Bay, which is represented by this larger jar. But don't forget, our watershed also includes the land in our area. That is represented by this bucket of soil. When we put the water and the land together, that becomes our watershed. Let's continue talking about the water in our watershed. Our main source of fresh water is the Choctawhatchee River. This river is the fourth longest river in Florida. It begins in southeast Alabama and flows through Florida until it empties into the Choctawhatchee Bay. The river also has several tributaries. Tributaries are smaller bodies of water that contribute to larger bodies of water. Since there are so many different parts of a watershed, we're going to use our bodies and a song to help us remember. Let's watch our AmeriCorps members show us how it's done.
Let rivers stay in Gulf, stay in Gulf. Let Bengal. Drainage streams and creeks and springs. Land, rivers, Bengal, Bengal.
Pause the video now and try it yourself. Now that we've talked about our watershed, why should we keep our watershed healthy? Pause the video now to discuss. We need to keep our watershed healthy for many reasons. People use our waterways every day for activities such as fishing. Wildlife, such as fish and birds, also use our waterways. Do we only need to take care of the parts of the watershed that surround our homes and schools? No, we need to take care of the whole watershed. What might happen if pollution happens up in Alabama? Pause the video now to discuss. Exactly. If pollution happens up in Alabama, stormwater runoff could pick it up and wash it into our waterways, and eventually it would end up here in the Choctawhatchee Bay. More than 90% of commercially harvested fish use a bay like ours at some stage of their life. But what does it mean to be commercially harvested? Pause the video now to discuss.
Let's break it down. Commercially means for profit or to make money. Harvest means to gather something. So commercially harvested fish are fish that are being caught or gathered to make money. So this includes all of the fish you eat at restaurants or buy in the stores. If we keep our watershed healthy, our fish can continue to use it and fishermen will continue to fish. People also use our watershed as tourists. It is important to keep this unique place healthy so it can continue to be used.
Another reason to keep our bay healthy is to protect the plants and animals that live there. Fish use our waterways in a variety of ways. There are 2 threatened fish that call the Choctawhatchee Bay their home. One is the Gulf sturgeon.
The Gulf sturgeon is one old fish. They are a prehistoric fish that can grow up to 8 feet long. They even have the ability to jump out of the water. They are bottom feeders, meaning they eat things off the bottom of the bay. During the spring and summer months, they spend their time in the rivers. During the fall and winter, they head out to the bay and gulf. They are only known to eat during this time when they are out in the bay and gulf. Another fish is the Okaloosa darter. This fish is only found in 6 creeks in northwest Florida. The Okaloosa darter was once endangered but is now listed as threatened, largely because of the help from Jackson Guard. The Okaloosa darter needs crystal clear water to be able to see and get around. There was a lot of erosion happening. Loose soil was getting into the waterways and clouded the water. Jackson Guard stepped in to control this erosion and eventually helped make this water clear again.
Now let's do an activity. We're going to be creating 2 types of watersheds, one with a salt marsh and one without a salt marsh. What plant do we know that grows in a salt marsh? Pause the video now to discuss. Exactly. Smooth cordgrass or Spartina alterniflora grows in our salt marshes. Now let's get to our activity. You should have a shower curtain set up with buckets, spray bottles, and sponges. Now look at the land that's on the shower curtain. What land are you seeing? What kind of pollutants come from those lands? Pause the video now to discuss.
Exactly. You are seeing pieces of land such as a backyard and a construction site. Pollutants might include trash, loose soil, gas, oil, and other things.
Now I am going to use the spray bottle to represent stormwater runoff, which is going to flow across the land, picking up pollutants and getting into our waterways. For the activity, we want to make sure our stormwater runoff is actually flowing across the land. We need to make sure we're holding our spray bottle like this so that we can spray down the slope of the land. Now all of you will get a chance to spray 5 times, just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Our sponges are the smooth cordgrass. Are the pollutants getting past the sponges? No. The sponges are stopping the pollutants, much like how smooth cordgrass filters and absorbs pollution from stormwater runoff.
Now you're going to remove the sponges, so you can do the exact same thing, but this time without a salt marsh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Here I am spraying the curtain without the sponges. Since there are no sponges, there is nothing stopping the pollutants from getting into the bay. What are the differences between the two bays? Which bay was healthier?
Pause the video now to discuss.
The first bay had a salt marsh full of smooth cordgrass that was able to filter and absorb pollution from stormwater runoff. The second bay did not have a salt marsh, and all of the pollution was washed into the bay. I wouldn't want to swim in a polluted bay, and neither would our fish. The bay with the salt marsh is definitely the healthier bay.
Well, explorers, I hope you enjoyed your second lesson learning all about our watershed. Until next time, keep exploring.